Widowed millionaire discovers the poor waitress protecting his triplet daughters, and he is stunned. The fluorescent lights hummed their tired song at 11:47 p.m., casting harsh shadows across the nearly empty dining room. Cassidy Monroe dragged a damp cloth across table 14 for the third time that shift, her red uniform clinging to her shoulders with the kind of exhaustion that settles deep into your bones. The kind that comes from pulling double shifts 6 days a week, from counting pennies at the grocery store, from lying awake at night doing math that never quite adds up. She'd been at Whitaker's for 3 months now, 3 months of yes ma'am and right away, sir, and swallowing every insult that came with being invisible to people who probably spent more on wine than she made in a month. But the tips were decent when customers remembered she existed, and the rent was overdue. Again, the dish station clanked in the distance. Most of the staff had already clocked out, leaving just the skeleton crew to close up. Cassidy should have been in the back folding napkins, but Brooke Ellison, the manager, had given her that smile, the one that looked sweet as honey but tasted like vinegarin. Asked her to make sure everything's perfect before she left. Translation: stay late without overtime. Cassidy was reaching for her cleaning caddy when she heard it. A wail, sharp and desperate, cutting through the quiet like a knife. Then another and another, 3 voices, tiny and furious, rising in perfect terrible harmony. Her head snapped toward the private dining room, the one reserved for VIPs, the one with a frosted glass door that stayed closed unless you had money that talked. The crying grew louder, more frantic, the kind of sound that makes your chest tighten even if the babies aren't yours. Cassidy hesitated. She knew the rules. Staff didn't go into that room unless called. Especially not Garkanids, especially not girls like her who needed this job more than their next breath. But God, those babies. She set down her cloth and moved toward the sound, her sneakers squeaking softly against the polished floor. Through the frosted glass, she could make out shapes, a stroller, maybe, and someone pacing. The crying didn't let up. If anything, it got worse. Cassidy pushed the door open just a crack. Inside, a man stood with his back to her, one hand pressed against his forehead, the other gripping the handle of a triple stroller like it might fly away. He wore a dark suit that probably cost more than her car, if she still had a car. His shoulders were tight, his posture screaming defeat, and in the stroller, 3 tiny faces scrunched up in misery. Little fists waving, mouths open in identical screams. Sir, Cassidy's voice came out smaller than she meant it to. Is everything okay? The man turned. Travis Whitaker, she knew his name from the reservation book. Knew he came in every Thursday like clockwork, always with those 3 babies and that same haunted look in his eyes, mid-30s, hollow cheeks, the kind of tired that makeup can't fix. She'd served him coffee once. He hadn't looked at her. Now he did. He looked from her to the babies, then back again. I can't get them to stop. I've tried everything. Cassidy stepped closer. Instinct overriding common sense. May I? He blinked at her like she'd spoken a foreign language, but after a beat, he nodded. Stepped aside, she crouched down next to the stroller, and the smell hit her first formula, baby powder and something sweet she couldn't quite name. The babies were maybe 6 months old, red-faced and furious. The one on the left had kicked off her blanket. The middle one had a fist in her mouth, gnawing like her life depended on it. The right one just screamed. Hey, Cassidy whispered, reaching for the left baby Hazel, according to the tiny embroidered name on her onesie. Hey, sweet girl, it's okay. She lifted Hazel out, carefully supporting her head the way her mom had taught her years ago when the neighbor's kids needed watching. The baby's cries hiccuped, confused. Cassidy shifted her against her chest, swaying just slightly, and started to hum. The melody came without thinking, an old song, worn smooth by time. The one her mom used to sing when the lights got shut off and the world felt too big and too mean. She didn't remember all the words, but the tune was there, buried deep in her bones. Dormit menina, dormit mi soul. Hazel's crying softened to a whimper, then a sigh, then nothing. Cassidy reached for Quinn next, the middle baby, tucking her into the crook of her other arm. The humming turned to quiet singing now, just above a whisper. Quinn's fist slipped from her mouth, her eyelids fluttered. Travis stood frozen, staring like he was watching a magic trick. By the time Cassidy picked up Lila, the 3rd baby, the room had gone still. All 3 little girls breathed in sync against her chest, their tiny bodies warm and trusting. Cassidy kept swaying, kept singing. Her voice cracked on the last note, and she realized her eyes were burning. How did you? Travis's voice was barely there. They haven't slept in weeks. Not like this. Cassidy looked up at him, and for a second, Something passed between them. Recognition. Maybe, or just exhaustion, meeting exhaustion. My mom used to sing this, she said quietly to me. When I couldn't sleep, Travis took a step closer, and that's when his gaze caught on her wrist. The bracelet, blue beads, worn smooth, held together by a fraying thread. His face went strange, pale. Almost. Where'd you get that? Cassidy glanced down. It was my mom. Is why. But before he could answer, the door swung open and Brooke Ellison glided in with that razor-sharp smile. Cassidy. Her voice dripped sweetness. What are you doing? It's not a Garcanet's job to handle VIP clients' children. Brooke placed a hand on Cassidy's shoulder. Gentle but firm, a warning disguised as concern. Mr. Whitaker is perfectly capable. Aren't you, sir? Travis opened his mouth, closed it, nodded once, stiff. Yes, of course. Thank you. Cassidy's stomach dropped. She carefully transferred the babies back into the stroller, one by one, trying not to jostle them awake. Hazel stirred but didn't cry. Quinn's little fingers curled around nothing. Lila's face stayed peaceful. I'm sorry, Cassidy whispered. To Travis, to the babies, to herself. She stood, smoothed her uniform, and walked past Brooke without looking back. But she felt it, Travis's eyes on her, confused in something else. Something desperate. And Brooke's smile, cold and knowing, like she'd just won a game Cassidy didn't know she was playing. Out in the main dining room, Cassidy grabbed her cleaning caddy with shaking hands. The clock read 1,158, 13 minutes. That's all it took to crack something open she didn't know was there. She touched the bracelet on her wrist, the one her mom wore until the day she died. The one that somehow Travis Whitaker recognized behind her through the frosted glass. The baby started to cry again. The bus smelled like stale coffee and defeat. Cassidy pressed her forehead against the cool window, watching the city blur past in streaks of neon and shadow. 12:40 a.m. Her feet throbbed in her cheap sneakers, and somewhere between her shoulder blades, a knot had taken up permanent residence. But that wasn't what kept her awake. Where did you get that? Travis Whitaker's voice, sharp with something she couldn't name. The way his eyes had locked onto her bracelet like it was a ghost. The bus lurched to a stop 3 blocks from her apartment, if you could call it that. Studio, efficiency, glorified closet. The landlord rotated through euphemisms like he rotated through ignored repair requests. Cassidy climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, avoiding the step that sagged, and unlocked the door with the key that stuck. Inside, the silence pressed down. No TV, she'd pawned it 2 months ago. No radio. The neighbor's bass thumped through the wall at odd hours, but tonight, nothing. Just her and the box. It sat on the kitchen counter where she'd left it that morning, cardboard. Taped shut, her mother's handwriting across the top in black marker. Grace Monroe, keep safe. Cassidy had opened it exactly twice since the funeral. Once, to find the death certificate for the hospital. Once, to grab the bracelet, because wearing it made the world feel slightly less empty. Now she pulled out a chair and set the box in front of her. Her hands hesitated on the tape. When your heart feels heavy, look for the light. That's what the note inside said. Grace's handwriting, shaky near the end, but still unmistakably hers. Cassidy had read it 100 times and still didn't know what it meant. What light? There was nothing but bills and night shifts and the constant low hum of not enough. She peeled back the tape and lifted the lid. The smell hit her first. Lavender, her mom's lotion. The cheap kind from the drugstore that she used sparingly, like it might run out and never come back. Cassidy's throat tightened. Inside, a mess of memories that didn't quite make sense. The bracelet's twin, or what was left of it, strings broken. Beads scattered in a Ziploc bag. A photo, edges worn soft, showing a baptism. A baby in white lace. 2 women standing close, smiling. One of them was Grace. Younger, her face not yet carved hollow by years of hard work. The other woman, Cassidy, didn't recognize. Dark hair, kind eyes, holding the baby like she was made of something precious. On the back, in Grace's handwriting, when love calls, answer. Cassidy turned the photo over again. Studied the background. There, barely visible behind the women, a restaurant interior, tables with white cloths. A bar with bottles lined up like soldiers. It could have been anywhere, but something about it itched at the back of her mind. She dug deeper, found a receipt, yellowed and brittle, from Whitaker's restaurant, 8 years old, for coffee and toast, $2.50. Her mom had saved a receipt for $2.50. Beneath it, folded into a square so tight it could have been origami, a note on Whitaker's letterhead. Thank you for listening to my song, G. The handwriting was her mother's. Cassidy's pulse kicked up. Her mom had worked at Whitaker's. Why had she never mentioned it? She spread everything out on the counter, the photo, the receipt, the note, the bracelet pieces. A puzzle with half the pieces missing and no picture on the box to guide her. Her phone buzzed, a text from the electric company. Final notice. Cassidy closed her eyes, took a breath, put everything back in the box except the bracelet, which she slipped onto her wrist where it belonged. Tomorrow she'd figure it out. Tomorrow she'd ask questions. Tonight she just needed to survive. Across town, in a house with more rooms than people, Travis Whitaker stood in the nursery and tried not to scream. Hazel, Quinn, and Lila lay in their cribs, eyes wide open, faces scrunched in pre-cry warning. It was 1:15 a.m. They'd been awake since midnight before that. They'd slept for 20 minutes. 20 minutes? Travis had tried bottles, diapers, rocking, white noise machines that cost more than most people's rent. Nothing worked. Nothing ever worked. Except her. That girl, the waitress, Cassidy something. He didn't even know her last name, and she'd done in 3 minutes what he couldn't do in 3 months. And that bracelet. Travis moved to the rocking chair in the corner, his body moving on autopilot. He picked up his phone, opened the photo app, scrolled to the album he rarely looked at anymore. The one labeled E. Elizabeth, his wife, the love of his life, the woman who died bringing these 3 perfect, impossible girls into the world. Their 4th photo down. Elizabeth at their engagement party, laughing at something off camera, her left hand raised to show off the ring, and on her right wrist, barely visible, a bracelet. Blue beads, simple, cheap, probably. She'd never taken it off. He'd asked her about it once. She'd smiled that mysterious smile and said, "A friend gave it to me. Someone who taught me that kindness doesn't have a price tag." He'd never pushed. Wish he had now. Travis zoomed in on the photo. The beads were identical. He was sure of it. Same faded blue, same worn thread, but that was impossible. Wasn't it? Quinn started to fuss, a warm-up whimper before the main event. Travis set down his phone and tried to hum the melody he'd heard tonight, the one the waitress had sung. Dermot me Nina. He didn't know the words, barely knew the tune, but he tried anyway, his voice rough and uncertain in the dark. Quinn's whimper turned into a wail. Hazel joined in. Lila followed 3 seconds later. Travis dropped his head into his hands. Elizabeth would have known what to do. Elizabeth had probably hummed this exact song to these exact babies while they were still safe inside her. She'd always been better at the soft stuff, the lullabies, the gentle touches, the way you could quiet a storm with nothing but love. He was a spreadsheet guy. Numbers, logic, problems with solutions. Babies didn't work like that, neither did grief. He stood, went to Hazel's crib, picked her up. She screamed louder, red-faced and furious. He tried bouncing her the way the night nurse had shown him. Nothing. Tried the shoosing thing. Nothing. Tried humming again. Dermot me soul. Hazel paused just for a second. Her cries hiccuped into silence. And her huge brown eyes, Elizabeth's eyes, stared up at him like she was waiting for something. Travis kept humming, even though he didn't know what came next. Kept swaying, even though his arms felt like lead, and slowly, impossibly, Hazel's eyes drifted closed. He didn't dare breathe, didn't dare stop moving, just stood there in the 2 a.m. darkness, holding his daughter, humming a song he didn't know, taught to him by a woman he'd never really looked at until tonight. When he finally laid Hazel back down, Quinn and Lila had gone quiet too. Not asleep, not quite, but calmer, listening. Travis sank into the rocking chair and pulled up the photo again. Elizabeth's bracelet, Cassidy's bracelet. Someone who taught me that kindness doesn't have a price tag. His chest ached with questions he couldn't answer. With the ghost of his wife whispering secrets he'd never thought to ask about. With the weight of 3 babies who needed more than he knew how to give. Tomorrow he'd go back to the restaurant. Tomorrow he'd find answers. Tonight he'd hum the song until dawn if he had to, in the crib closest to him. Lila sighed, soft and small and trusting. Travis closed his eyes and kept humming. Cassidy showed up for her shift at 4 p.m., same as always. Checked the schedule board in the break room. Same as always. Felt her stomach drop. Not the same as always. Her name had been moved. Scratched out in red pen and rewritten at the bottom of the roster. The dinner shift prime tipping hours. The shift she'd worked for 3 months straight now belonged to Monica, who'd started 2 weeks ago and still couldn't remember which fork went where. Cassidy's new slot, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. The graveyard. The shift where businessmen nursed whiskey alone and left pocket change as an insult. Problem, Brooke Ellison stood in the doorway, clipboard in hand, smile sharp as broken glass. No, ma'am, just surprised. I thought I was scheduled for dinner. Plans change. Brooke made a check mark on her clipboard. Besides, you seemed so comfortable working late last night. Thought you'd appreciate the consistency. The words landed soft. But the threat underneath was clear as day. Step out of line again, and it gets worse. Cassidy swallowed hard. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Oh, and Cassidy. Brooke paused at the door. Table assignments are posted by the hostess stand. Make sure you double-check them. We've had some issues with girls taking tables that aren't theirs. Hate to see anyone get written up for theft of tips. She left before Cassidy could respond. Monica walked in, already in uniform. Guilt written all over her face. Look, I didn't ask for it. It's fine. Cassidy grabbed her apron from her locker. Tied it tight enough to hurt. Congrats on dinner shift. She brushed past before Monica could say anything else. Before the anger burning in her chest could turn into something she'd regret. The hostess stand had 3 sticky notes with her name on it. Tables 12, 15, and 18, the corner section. The dead zone where couples went to break up quietly and businessmen went to drink themselves numb. Meanwhile, Monica got the window seats, the families, the big tops that tipped 20% because their kids made a mess. Cassidy took a breath, then another, then got to work. By 11 p.m., she'd made $43, 2 hours of running food, refilling waters, smiling until her face hurt. $43, rent was due in 5 days. She needed $400 more. She was clearing table 15 when she heard it, that sound. The one that had crawled into her chest last night and refused to leave, crying. 3 voices getting closer. Cassidy's head snapped up. Travis Whitaker walked through the front door. The triple stroller bumping over the threshold. The babies were in full meltdown mode. Faces red, fists waving. The kind of screaming that made other diners wince. Brooke appeared instantly, all charm and efficiency. Mr. Whitaker, your usual table is ready. She led him toward the private room. Travis followed, looking like a man walking toward his own execution. He hadn't slept, that much was obvious. His shirt was wrinkled, tie loose. And there were dark circles under his eyes that makeup couldn't fix. Their eyes met for half a second as he passed. Something flickered in his expression. Maybe relief, but then Brooke was ushering him into the VIP room and closing the frosted door behind them. The crying didn't stop. If anything, it got louder. Cassidy forced herself to keep working. Took an order at table 12, delivered appetizers to 18, refilled water glasses with hands that wanted to shake. The door to the private room opened. Brooke emerged, still smiling, and made a beeline for the hostess stand. Cassidy watched from the corner of her eye as Brooke spoke quietly to the hostess, who nodded and scribbled something on the seating chart. Then Brooke caught Cassidy looking. Her smile widened. Cassidy, a word. Everything in Cassidy's body said run, but she walked over it anyway. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Whitaker has requested coffee. Table 22, that's Monica's section, but she's on break. Would you mind? It wasn't a question, of course. Cassidy grabbed the coffee pot from the station, checked that it was fresh, and headed for the private room. Her heart hammered against her ribs. This was a test. She knew it. Brooke knew she knew it. She knocked softly, then pushed the door open. Travis sat at the table, head in his hands. The stroller was parked beside him, all 3 babies screaming their lungs out. He didn't even look up when she entered. Coffee, sir. His head snapped up. Oh yes, thank you, she poured, hands steady despite the noise, set the pot down, started to turn away. Wait, she stopped. Travis stood. Ran a hand through his hair last night. That song you sang, where did you learn it? The baby screamed louder. Hazel kicked off her blanket. Quinn had her fist in her mouth again. Gnawing desperately, Lila just wailed, face purple with rage. My mom, Cassidy said quietly. She used to sing it to me when I was little. Your mom. He stared at her like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Did she ever work here? At this restaurant, Cassidy's pulse jumped. I don't know. Maybe she worked a lot of places. What was her name? Grace Monroe. Something passed over his face, not recognition exactly, but close. Grace, he repeated, testing the word. Lila's screaming hit a new pitch. Travis flinched. Sir, Cassidy hesitated. Would you like me to? She didn't finish the sentence, didn't need to. Travis looked at the babies. Then at her. I shouldn't, Brooke said. I know what she said. Cassidy moved to the stroller, crouched down. But they're hurting, and I can help. Just for a minute, he didn't stop her. She lifted Hazel first, settled her against her chest, and started humming. The melody came easy now. Muscle memory taking over. Hazel's cries softened to whimpers. Quinn, next. Tucked into her other arm, then Lila, balanced carefully against her shoulder. The room went quiet except for the sound of tiny, shuddering breaths. Travis sank back into his chair. How do you do that? I don't know. Cassidy swayed gently. The weight of 3 babies somehow lighter than the weight of everything else. I really don't. That song, my wife used to hum it. I never knew the words. But the melody, I remember her humming it when she was pregnant. Late at night, when she couldn't sleep, Cassidy's throat tightened. I'm sorry. About your wife, she had a bracelet, blue beads like yours. I know, I saw you looking at it. Where did you get it? It was my mom's. She never told me where it came from, just said it was important. They stared at each other over the heads of 3 sleeping babies. The air felt charged with questions neither of them knew how to ask. The door opened, Brooke stepped inside, took one look at the scene, and her smile went cold. Cassidy, my office now. But the babies, Mr. Whitaker, is perfectly capable of handling his own children. Brooks's tone left no room for argument. Now Cassidy carefully transferred the babies back to Travis. Hazel stirred but didn't wake. Quinn made a small sound of protest. Lila's face stayed peaceful. I'm sorry, Cassidy whispered. She followed Brooke out of the room, down the hallway, into the cramped office that smelled like stale perfume and power trips. Brooke closed the door, didn't sit, just stood there, arms crossed, eyes hard. Let me be very clear. You are a waitress, not a nanny, not a miracle worker. A waitress. Your job is to serve food and collect tips. That's it. I was just trying to help. You were overstepping. Again, Brooke picked up a printout from her desk. Scanned it. Interesting. Table 12 claims they ordered the salmon, not the chicken. Table 18 says their water was never refilled. And I have a complaint from Table 7, not even your section, that you were rude when they asked for extra napkins. Cassidy's blood ran cold. That's not. I never. Are you calling our customers liars? No. I am, but then we have a problem. Brooke set down the paper. Strike 1 was last night. Strike 2 is tonight. Strike 3, you're gone. Are we clear? Cassidy's hands curled into fists at her sides. Crystal, good. Now get back to work. And Cassidy, Brooks' smile returned. Sweet as poison. Stay away from Mr. Whitaker's children. That's not a suggestion. Cassidy walked out. Made it halfway down the hall before she had to stop and lean against the wall, breathing hard through the frosted glass of the private room. She could see Travis's silhouette, see him rocking the stroller, see him trying. And hear, faint but unmistakable, the sound of 3 babies starting to cry again. The storage room smelled like old paper and forgotten things. Cassidy stood in the doorway during her 15-minute break, staring at the metal shelves packed with file boxes, binders, and dusty picture frames that probably used to hang in the main dining room before someone decided they weren't classy enough. She shouldn't be here, should be in the break room eating the granola bar she'd brought from home, drinking burnt coffee, pretending the last 3 days hadn't happened. But Travis Whitaker's question wouldn't let her go. Did she ever work here at this restaurant? The receipt in her mom's box had Whitaker's letterhead. The note, "Thank you for listening to my song," was written on Whitaker's paper. And that photo, the one from the baptism, had a restaurant interior in the background that looked an awful lot like this place. Her mom had been here. Cassidy was sure of it now. She just needed proof. She slipped inside and pulled the door closed behind her. The overhead light flickered twice before staying on, casting everything in a sickly yellow glow. Boxes lined the shelves floor to ceiling. Labeled by year, Cassidy scanned them, doing math in her head. 8 years ago. That's when the receipt was dated. She found the box marked with the right year and pulled it down. Dust raining onto her uniform. Inside, reservation logs, staff schedules, incident reports, vendor invoices. She flipped through the staff schedules first, fingers trembling slightly. June, July, August. There. September, week 3. A name in blue pen under kitchen staff. Grace Monroe. Cassidy's breath caught. Her mom had worked here in the kitchen for how long? She flipped forward. October still there. November still there. December gone, just like that. 3 months, then nothing. No termination notice. No forwarding information. Just an empty slot where her mom's name used to be. Cassidy kept digging. Found the reservation book from that year. The pages yellowed and crinkled. She flipped through carefully, looking for anything. Notes, names, clues. And then she found it, wedged between October 14th and October 15th. A small piece of paper, Whitaker's letterhead, the same spidery handwriting as the note in her mother's box. Thank you for listening to my song, G. But this one had more on the back. Barely visible, an address and a single word. Elizabeth. Cassidy's heart hammered. Elizabeth, Travis's wife. The woman in the photo with her mom. She pulled out her phone, took pictures of everything, the staff schedule, the note, the reservation pages, then carefully put it all back, making sure that dust fell in the same places when she emerged from the storage room. Ron was standing by the dish station, drying a wine glass. He didn't look at her, but he spoke. "Find what you were looking for." Cassidy froze. Ron had been at Whitaker's for 15 years. According to the other servers, older guy, kept to himself, did his job without drama. She'd never heard him say more than 5 words at a time. "I don't know what you mean." "Sure you don't." He set down the glass, picked up another. "Your mom was Grace, right? Worked in the kitchen while back." Cassidy's throat went dry. "You knew her, knew of her, good woman, kind. Used to hum while she prepped vegetables, drove the head chef crazy. But the rest of us liked it." He glanced at her finally. "She taught the whole staff that song, the one you were singing to Mr. Whitaker's babies." "What happened to her? Why did she leave?" Ron's expression went carefully neutral. "Not my story to tell, but if I were you, I'd look at the old pictures in the back hallway, 3rd frame from the end. Might find something interesting." He walked away before she could ask anything else. Cassidy waited until her break was officially over, then made her way to the back hallway, the one that connected the kitchen to the staff entrance. The one nobody used except to grab their coats at the end of shift. The walls were lined with framed photos, old ones, the restaurant in its early days. Black and white shots of opening night, staff photos from various years, 3rd frame from the end. Cassidy stopped in front of it, a color photo this time. Maybe 10 years old, the entire kitchen staff lined up. Grinning at the camera, she scanned the faces. In their 2nd row, 3rd from the left, her mom, younger, healthier, smiling that rare smile that meant she was genuinely happy. And next to her, arm around her shoulders, a woman with dark hair and kind eyes. Elizabeth Whitaker. Cassidy's hands shook as she pulled out her phone and took another picture. "You're going to get yourself fired." She spun around. Monica stood there, arms crossed, looking uncomfortable. "I'm on break. You were on break 10 minutes ago. Brooke's looking for you. And trust me, you don't want her finding you back here taking pictures of old staff photos." "Why do you care?" Monica shifted. "Look, I didn't ask for your shift, okay? Brooke just changed the schedule. And I need this job as much as you do. But whatever you're doing, whatever this is, it's not worth losing everything over. You don't understand." "No, I don't, and I don't want to." Monica glanced down the hallway. "Just be smart, that's all I'm saying." She left. Cassidy took one more look at the photo, her mom and Elizabeth, arms around each other, smiling like they shared secrets the camera couldn't capture, and then headed back to the dining room. 20 miles away, Travis sat in his home office with a laptop and a growing sense of unease. He'd searched Grace Monroe 3 times, found an obituary from 2 months ago, survived by daughter Cassidy, memorial service at Riverside Chapel, no mention of previous employment. He opened the file where he kept Elizabeth's things, digital copies of photos, documents, the few emails she'd saved before she got sick. He'd looked through them 100 times, but now he searched with purpose. Grace, 1 result. An email from 7 years ago, sent from Elizabeth's account to someone named Grace. The address was a generic Gmail. No last name attached. "Grace, thank you for everything today. I don't know how to repay you, but I'll start by keeping my promise when the time comes. I'll make sure she knows." What promise? Who was she? Travis clicked forward, looking for a response. Nothing. He checked Elizabeth's sent folder. The email hadn't been sent. It was sitting in drafts. Like she'd written it, but never worked up the courage to hit send. Or forgot, or died before she could. He leaned back in his chair, scrubbing his hands over his face. Down the hall, the baby monitor crackled. One of the triplets, probably Quinn, made a small fussy sound, testing the waters before committing to a full cry. Travis grabbed his phone and pulled up the video he'd taken 2 nights ago. He'd felt ridiculous recording it, but desperation made you do stupid things. On screen, Cassidy in the private dining room, holding all 3 girls, swaying gently, singing that song. "Dormant me Nina, dormant me soul." He'd watched it 17 times, tried to learn the words, the melody, got close. But not close enough. The babies knew the difference. He paused the video on Cassidy's face, concentrated, gentle, completely unaware she was being recorded. And there, on her wrist, the blue beaded bracelet. Travis opened a different folder, found the photo from his engagement party, zoomed in on Elizabeth's wrist. The bracelets were identical, he was certain now, which meant what? That Elizabeth and Grace had been friends, that they'd shared some kind of promise, that Cassidy was here by accident or design. Quinn's fussy sound turned into a real cry. Hazel joined in 3 seconds later. Travis pocketed his phone, closed the laptop, and headed for the nursery. He tried humming the song as he walked, but his voice cracked on the second line, and the babies only cried harder by the time he got all 3 changed. Fed and back in their cribs, it was 2 a.m. They weren't sleeping, just staring at him with huge, accusing eyes, like they knew he was a fraud, like they were waiting for someone else. His phone buzzed, a calendar reminder. Thursday, Whitaker's, 9 p.m. He should cancel, should stay home, hire another night nurse. Figure this out without dragging a waitress into his mess, but the babies cried louder. And Travis knew he'd be there, same as every Thursday, looking for answers in a blue beaded bracelet and a song he couldn't quite remember. Thursday came too fast and too slow. All at once, Cassidy arrived for her graveyard shift at 9:45 p.m. 15 minutes early, like always. The schedule board still had her name at the bottom. The dead zone tables still had her number on them, and Brooke still watched her like a hawk circling something wounded. 3 days. 3 days of perfect behavior. No mistakes, no complaints, no stepping out of line. Cassidy had been a ghost efficient, invisible, exactly what a good waitress was supposed to be. It hadn't mattered. Yesterday, a table claimed their steak was overcooked. It wasn't Cassidy had checked before she brought it out, but Brooke wrote her up anyway, this morning. She'd gotten a text moving her next shift from Tuesday to Monday. No explanation, just the assumption she'd rearrange her life on 4 hours' notice. She was being squeezed out, slowly, carefully, death by 1,000 paper cuts. But she needed this job. Needed it so badly her chest ached every time she thought about the rent notice taped to her door. The phone bill sitting unpaid, the balance in her checking account that had more zeros before the decimal than after. So she tied her apron, checked her station, and got ready to survive another shift. At 10:07 p.m., Travis Whitaker walked through the door, same stroller, same 3 babies, same exhausted slump to his shoulders. But this time, his eyes found hers immediately, held for just a second too long. Cassidy looked away first. Turned toward table 18, where an older businessman was signaling for his check. She could feel Travis watching as Brooke swept in, all smiles and efficiency, leading him toward the private room. The door closed. The crying started 30 seconds later. Cassidy delivered the check, cleared table 15, refilled waters at 12, kept her head down, stayed in her lane. The crying got louder. She was wiping down the bar when Brooke appeared beside her, clipboard in hand. Cassidy, Mr. Whitaker has requested his usual coffee. Would you mind bringing it to him? Every instinct screamed trap. But what was she supposed to say? No, of course. She prepared the coffee with shaking hands, French press, not drip, cream on the side. No sugar. She'd memorized his order the first week, back when she still thought details mattered. The tray felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds as she walked toward the private room. She knocked. Waited, knocked again, no answer, just crying, loud, desperate. The kind that made your bones ache. Cassidy pushed the door open. Travis wasn't at the table. He was on the floor next to the stroller, head in his hands, shoulders shaking. The baby screamed in 3-part harmony, faces purple, fists waving. Formula was splattered across the front of his shirt. Mr. Whitaker, his head snapped up, his eyes were red-rimmed, hollow. I can't. His voice cracked. I've tried everything. They won't stop. They haven't stopped all week. Cassidy set down the tray. Sir, please. The word came out raw. I know I'm not supposed to ask. I know, Brooke said, but please, just for a minute, I can't do this anymore. The crying intensified. Hazel had kicked off both her socks. Quinn was gnawing on her fists so hard her gums were probably bleeding. Lila just wailed, her whole tiny body rigid with misery. Cassidy looked at the door, looked at Travis, looked at 3 babies who needed help more than she needed this job. She moved to the stroller. Thank you, Travis whispered. God, thank you. She lifted Hazel first. The baby's screams cut off like someone had flipped a switch, replaced by confused hiccups. Cassidy settled her against her chest and reached for Quinn. The weight of 2 babies felt familiar now. Natural, like her body remembered something her mind didn't. She started humming. The melody came easy, worn smooth by repetition. Dormant Menina. Lila next. 3 babies, 3 different heartbeats syncing with hers. The room went quiet except for Travis's ragged breathing. My wife knew that song, he said softly. I found an email she wrote, never sent it to someone named Grace. Your mom. Cassidy's hand stilled for just a second. What did it say? That she'd made a promise. That when the time came, she'd make sure she knew. He looked up at her. I think the she was you, but I don't understand. Why would your wife? The door flew open. Brooke stood there, and her expression was beyond anger. It was triumph. What is going on here? I asked her. Travis started. This is the third time I've caught this employee inappropriately handling VIP children. Brooks's voice was ice. Mr. Whitaker, I apologize profusely, Cassidy. Give me those babies. Now. They're finally calm. Now, Cassidy transferred the babies back to Travis. Hazel started crying immediately. Quinn's face scrunched up. Lila's peaceful expression crumbled. My office, Brooke snapped. This is unacceptable. She was helping. Travis tried again. I appreciate your generosity, Mr. Whitaker, but this is a personnel matter. I'll handle it. Brooke's smile was razor sharp, Cassidy. Now, Cassidy followed her out, heart hammering. Behind them, the baby's cries rose to a crescendo, but they didn't go to the office. Brooke led her to the back hallway. Then to the storage room, opened the door. Inside, what? Get. Inside, Cassidy stepped into the dim, dusty space. Brooke followed. Pulling the door closed behind them, the lock clicked. You think I don't know what you're doing? Brooke's voice was low. Dangerous, sneaking around, going through old files. Taking pictures. Cassidy's blood ran cold. You're trying to worm your way into that man's life, into his money. You think playing nanny to his babies is your ticket out of poverty? Brooke stepped closer. Let me tell you something about girls like you. You don't get to climb. You don't get to use sympathy and sob stories to take what isn't yours. You stay where you belong. That's not what I'm doing. Your mother tried the same thing. Getting close to Elizabeth Whitaker, acting like they were friends. You know what happened? She got fired because she forgot her place. You fired her. I did what needed to be done, and I'll do it again. Brooke pulled out her phone. You're going to stay here for 30 minutes. Think about your choices when I let you out. You're going to apologize to Mr. Whitaker for overstepping, collect your things, and leave. Quietly, no drama, no accusations. You can't just lock me in here. I can do whatever I want. I'm management. You're nobody. Brooke moved toward the door. Oh, and Cassidy, if you try to make trouble, claim I locked you in, try to sue. Go to the press aisle, make sure everyone knows about your little game. How you tried to use those babies to manipulate a grieving widower. How you probably planted that bracelet on yourself after stealing it from old employee belongings. That's insane, is it? Brooke smiled. Who do you think they'll believe? Me, with 15 years of spotless management? Or you, the desperate waitress with 3 write-ups and a history of boundary violations? She walked out. The lock clicked again from the outside. Cassidy stood in the dark, dust swirling in the thin line of light under the door, and felt everything collapse. Her phone in her locker. The babies, still crying. Travis, probably thinking she'd abandoned them. She sank to the floor, back against a shelf, and pressed her hands over her face. This was it. Rock bottom. The place where trying didn't matter. Where truth didn't matter. Where being kind got you locked in a storage room while someone else controlled the narrative. Her mom's voice whispered through the darkness. When your heart feels heavy, look for the light. What light? There was no light. There was just dust and old boxes and the faint sound of babies crying through 2 walls and a closed door. Cassidy pulled her knees to her chest, let the tears come, and in the private dining room, Travis Whitaker held 3 screaming babies and felt something inside him break. Because the one person who could help them, the one person who seemed to carry some piece of Elizabeth in her voice, in her touch, in that damn blue bracelet, had just walked away, or so he thought. 37 minutes later, Brooke unlocked the storage room door. Cassidy stood up, wiped her face, and walked out without a word. Went to the break room, opened her locker, pulled out her phone and her jacket. Her hands found the bracelet on her wrist. The blue beads caught the fluorescent light, and for just a second, she could swear they looked like her mom's eyes. Sad, determined, unbroken. When love calls, answer, that's what the photo said. Cassidy took off the bracelet, put it in her locker, closed the door. Then she walked out of Whitaker's for what she was certain would be the last time. The apartment was dark when Cassidy got home at 2 a.m. She didn't turn on the lights, just kicked off her shoes, dropped her jacket on the floor, and stood in the middle of the room wondering what the hell she was supposed to do now. No job, rent due in 2 days, $47 in her checking account. She'd survived worse, that's what she told herself when her mom got sick. When the hospital bills started piling up, when the funeral home wanted payment up front, she'd survived all of it. But this felt different. This felt like defeat. She moved to the kitchen counter where the box still sat, her mom's box. The one filled with mysteries she'd probably never solve now. What did it matter anymore? Grace was gone, Elizabeth was gone. Whatever promise they'd made to each other had died with them. Cassidy picked up the box, ready to shove it back into the closet where it belonged. Something shifted inside. A sliding sound like paper on cardboard. She froze, set the box down, opened it carefully. Everything was still there, the photo, the receipt, the broken bracelet, and the Ziploc bag. But when she lifted them out, she saw what she'd missed before. The bottom of the box had a seam, not just cardboard layers pressed together, but an actual separation, like a false bottom. Her hand shook as she worked her fingers into the gap. The cardboard gave way, revealing a hidden compartment maybe half an inch deep. Inside, an envelope, yellowed, sealed with tape that had started to peel at the edges. Written on the front in her mother's shaky handwriting. For Travis Whitaker, when the time is right. Cassidy's breath stopped. She turned the envelope over. The seal was weak enough that it came loose with barely any pressure. Inside, 2 pieces of paper. One was a letter, folded in thirds. The other was a photograph. The photo showed 2 women standing in Whitaker's kitchen. Grace and Elizabeth, younger, happier, arms around each other's shoulders. They were laughing at something off camera, and the joy on their faces was so pure it hurt to look at. Cassidy unfolded the letter. Her mom's handwriting, neater than the envelope, like she'd taken her time with this one. Travis, I don't know if you'll ever read this. I don't know if I'll ever have the courage to send it. But if you're reading it, then something happened to me, and my daughter found what I was too scared to share while I was alive. Your wife Elizabeth was my friend, my best friend, if I'm being honest. We worked together at your restaurant 8 years ago. She was front of house learning the business. I was in the kitchen, trying to keep my head above water like always. We shouldn't have clicked. Different worlds, different lives, but she saw me, really saw me. Not the uniform or the poverty or the single mom struggling to make rent. Just me. She used to come to the kitchen during slow hours, and we'd talk about everything. About dreams and fears and the weight of being a woman in a world that doesn't make space for us. She told me she was pregnant, told me she was terrified she wouldn't be a good mother. I taught her the song my grandmother taught me, the one I sang to Cassidy every night. Dormant me Nina, dormant me soul. Elizabeth said it made her feel safe, made her feel like maybe she could do this after all. We made a promise that day if anything ever happened to her. I'd watch over her children, not as a nanny or an employee, as someone who carried a piece of her love forward. And if anything happened to me, she'd do the same for Cassidy. 3 weeks later, I was fired. Brooke Ellison said I was creating inappropriate relationships with management's family, said I was overstepping my place. Elizabeth tried to fight it, but she was pregnant and sick, and I told her to let it go. Some battles aren't worth the cost. I never saw her again, but I kept the promise in my heart, kept singing the song to my daughter, kept the bracelet she gave me, the twin to hers, as a reminder that kindness doesn't have a price tag. I heard she died in childbirth, heard she had triplets. I wanted to reach out, to help, but I was nobody. What right did I have to show up in a mansion with my poverty and my grief? So I wrote this letter instead, and I'm leaving it for Cassidy to find, because I believe in promises that outlive us. I believe that love is stronger than death or distance or the walls people build between the haves and have-nots. If my daughter is reading this, then she's already met you, already met your girls, already sang them the song, because that's what the universe does when we're brave enough to listen. It brings the right people together at exactly the right time. Tell her I'm sorry I didn't explain. Tell her the bracelet isn't just jewelry, it's a promise I couldn't keep on my own. But maybe together, you two can keep it for me. Take care of each other, take care of those babies, and remember when love calls, answer, always. Grace Monroe. Cassidy read the letter 3 times, then a 4th. Tears blurred the words, but she didn't wipe them away. Her mom had known, had carried this secret for 8 years, had given Cassidy the bracelet, taught her the song, left her breadcrumbs to follow even after death, and Cassidy had almost missed it, almost given up, almost walked away from the one promise her mother had died protecting. She looked at the clock, 2:47 a.m. Travis would be home now, probably still awake, probably still trying to calm babies who wouldn't sleep. She should wait until morning, should plan what to say, how to explain. But morning felt like a luxury she couldn't afford. Morning meant Brooke had more time to spin her lies. Morning meant Travis would believe Cassidy had abandoned them. She grabbed her phone. No number for Travis, but she had the restaurant's contact info from when she'd first applied. There had to be a way to reach him. The Whitaker's website had a contact owner form. Cassidy opened it, fingers flying across her phone screen. Mr. Whitaker, this is Cassidy Monroe. I know what happened tonight looked bad. I know Brooke probably told you I left on my own, but I need you to know the truth. I was locked in the storage room for over 30 minutes. When I got out, I left because I thought I had no choice, but I found something, a letter from my mom. She knew your wife, they were friends, they made a promise to each other. And I think I'm here to keep that promise. I know you don't have any reason to trust me. I know this sounds insane, but please, read the letter, look at the photo, and if you believe me, meet me tomorrow. Anywhere. I'll bring everything. Those babies deserve better than what's happening. They deserve someone who can help them sleep. And you deserve to know the truth about your wife and my mom, please. Cassidy, she hit send before she could second guess herself. The confirmation message popped up. Your message has been sent. We typically respond within 24 to 48 hours. 48 hours. She might not have 48 hours. Rent was due, her savings were gone. And Brooke had made it crystal clear that any attempt to fight back would be crushed. But she had the letter. She had the photo. She had proof that this wasn't manipulation or poverty or desperation. It was a promise between two women who'd loved each other, across the impossible divide of class and circumstance. Cassidy folded the letter carefully, slipped it back into the envelope along with the photo, grabbed her mom's box, and pulled out the bracelet from her locker. She tucked it into her jacket pocket at the last second. Unable to leave it behind, the blue beads caught the dim light from the street lamp outside her window. When love calls, answer, she fastened the bracelet around her wrist and waited for morning across town. Travis's phone buzzed with an email notification at 3:02 a.m. He was in the nursery, rocking Quinn while Hazel and Lila dozed fitfully in their cribs. He'd given up on sleep hours ago, given up on a lot of things. He opened the email with one hand, expecting spam or a reservation confirmation. Instead, message from Cassidy Monroe via contact form. His heart jumped. He read it once, then again, then a third time. Quinn breathing softly against his chest. A letter from my mom. She knew your wife. They were friends. Travis looked at his daughter's peaceful face, the first peace she'd had in hours, and thought about Elizabeth, about the secrets she'd kept, about promises made in the dark between two women who'd understood something he was only beginning to grasp. He typed a response with shaking thumbs. Tomorrow. 10 a.m., the bench outside Riverside Park. Bring the letter. I'll be there. He hit send. And for the first time in months, felt something like hope. Cassidy arrived at Riverside Park at 9:47 a.m., 13 minutes early, clutching the envelope like it might disappear if she loosened her grip. The morning was cold and gray. The kind of day that made everything feel uncertain. She sat on the designated bench, watching pigeons peck at crumbs near the fountain, and tried to remember how to breathe normally. What if he didn't come? What if he'd changed his mind? What if Brooke had gotten to him first with her version of events? At 9:58, she saw him, Travis, pushing the triple stroller across the grass. Looking as exhausted as she felt, the babies were bundled in matching pink jackets, faces barely visible beneath their hats. They weren't crying, not yet, but Quinn was starting to fuss. That pre-cry whimper that meant they had maybe 5 minutes before all hell broke loose. Travis stopped a few feet from the bench. They stared at each other for a long moment. Hi, Cassidy said finally. Hi. He moved closer, sat down on the opposite end of the bench, leaving careful space between them. You brought it. She handed him the envelope, read the letter first, then looked at the photo. Travis opened it with careful fingers, like he was handling something sacred or dangerous, maybe both. Cassidy watched his face as he read, watched the confusion, then recognition, then something that looked like grief and relief mixed together. His hands trembled by the third paragraph. When he finished, he didn't speak for a long time, just stared at the letter, then at the photo of the two women laughing in the kitchen. She never told me, he said finally, voice rough, about Grace, about any of this. I knew Elizabeth had friends at the restaurant, but she never, he trailed off. Why wouldn't she tell me? Maybe she didn't want you to feel obligated. Maybe she thought it didn't matter after my mom got fired. Cassidy touched the bracelet on her wrist, or maybe she was waiting for the right time, and the right time never came. Quinn's whimper turned into a real cry, then Hazel joined in. Lila held out for another 10 seconds before following suit. Travis's face crumpled. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything, specialists, night nurses, sleep training. Nothing works. They just cry, and his voice broke. I'm failing them. I'm failing Elizabeth. You're not failing anyone. Cassidy moved closer. Can I? He nodded, defeated. She reached into the stroller and lifted Hazel first. The baby's cries stuttered, confused. Cassidy settled her against her chest and started humming that same melody, worn smooth by repetition and grief, and now something like purpose. Dermot me Nina, Dermot me soul, Quinn next, then Lila. 3 babies, 3 heartbeats syncing with hers. The park went quiet, except for the fountain and distant traffic. Travis watched with an expression Cassidy couldn't quite read. That's the song. The one Elizabeth hummed when she was pregnant. I could never remember all of it, but that's it. My mom taught it to her. To both of us, I guess, in different ways. Cassidy swayed gently. The letter says they made a promise to watch over each other's children if something happened and you came to the restaurant, because I didn't know, not at first. I just needed a job. She looked down at Hazel's peaceful face. But then I saw the babies, and something just clicked. Like my body remembered something my brain didn't. The bracelet. Elizabeth had one exactly like it. They were twins. Your wife gave one to my mom when they became friends. Cassidy held up her wrist. This was my mom's most precious possession. She wore it every single day until she died. Travis pulled out his phone, scrolled to a photo, held it up. Elizabeth at their engagement party, laughing, the blue-beaded bracelet visible on her wrist. They're identical, Cassidy whispered. Grace says in the letter that Brooke fired her, that she was creating inappropriate relationships with management's family. Travis's jaw tightened. Elizabeth got sick around that same time. Hyperemesis gravidae and severe pregnancy complications. She was in and out of the hospital. And I was trying to keep the business running, and everything was chaos. I never knew, he stopped. I never knew Brooke had fired her friend. Brooke told me last night that my mom forgot her place. That she tried the same thing I'm doing. Getting close to your family to climb out of poverty. That's insane. If Elizabeth cared about her, does Brooke know you're here? Cassidy asked suddenly. Travis's expression shifted. No. Why? Because she locked me in the storage room last night. Told me I was fired. Threatened to destroy my reputation if I tried to fight back or talk to you. The words tumbled out faster now. She said I was manipulating you, using the babies to get to your money. She said my mom did the same thing. She locked you in. Travis stood up. Started pacing. That's illegal. Who's gonna believe me? I'm nobody. She's management with 15 years of spotless service. I'll believe you. Cassidy looked up at him. Surprised you don't even know me. I know you calmed my daughters when no one else could. I know you have a letter from a woman who loved my wife. I know. He stopped in front of her. I know you're wearing a bracelet that proves Elizabeth trusted your mother enough to make her a promise that outlived them both. Lila stirred against Cassidy's shoulder. Made a small sound, then settled again. What do you want to do? Cassidy asked quietly. I want the truth. I want to know what really happened 8 years ago, and I want... Travis sat back down. Closer this time. I want to honor whatever promise Elizabeth made to your mom, because if she thought it was important enough to give Grace that bracelet, then it matters. Brooke's not going to just leave Brooke to me. Something hard entered Travis's voice. She works for me, not the other way around. And if she's been manipulating situations, firing people who got close to my family, locking employees in storage rooms, he pulled out his phone. I'm calling my lawyer, then I'm going to the restaurant tonight. During dinner service, what are you gonna do? What I should have done the first time you helped my daughters. He looked at Cassidy, really looked at her. I'm gonna ask you to tell everyone what happened, the whole staff. And I'm going to make sure Brooke answers for it. Cassidy's heart hammered. She'd deny everything. Will she? With witnesses, with documentation. Travis pulled up his email. I've got your message from last night, time-stamped. I've got the letter from your mom. He paused. Wait, did you take pictures? Of the old files, the staff schedules. Yes, when I was in the storage room. Before. Send them to me. Everything you have right now. Cassidy fumbled for her phone with one hand, carefully balancing 3 sleeping babies with the other. She pulled up the photos, the staff schedules showing Grace's name. The reservation book with the note, the framed photo in the hallway. She sent them all. Travis's phone buzzed repeatedly as the images came through. He looked at each one, his expression growing darker. This is proof. Proof your mom worked there. Proof they knew each other. He stood again. I'm ending this. Tonight you're coming with me. I can't just... Yes, you can. Because whatever promise my wife made to your mother, I'm making it too. Right here. Right now. His voice was steady, certain. Your mom watched over Elizabeth when she was pregnant and scared. Now you're going to help me watch over the babies Elizabeth left behind. Not as an employee, as he struggled for the right word, as family. The way they intended. Cassidy's eyes burned. I don't understand. You don't have to. Not yet. Travis checked his watch. Dinner service starts at 6. Can you be at the restaurant by 7? I don't time fired. I can't just walk in, you're not fired. You were never fired. Brooke doesn't have that authority without my approval. And I sure as hell didn't approve it. He pulled up his contacts, started typing. I'm reinstating you right now. Full back pay for missed shifts, and we're doing this publicly. Travis, call me by my first name. We're past formalities. He looked at her. Then at his sleeping daughters, they only sleep like this with you. That means something. That means everything. Cassidy's throat tightened. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. He carefully helped her transfer the babies back into the stroller. One at a time, they stayed asleep. Miracle of miracles, peaceful and trusting. As Travis began to push the stroller away, he turned back. Cassidy, thank you for not giving up, for finding that letter, for his voice caught, for keeping a promise you didn't even know you'd made. He walked away across the grass, and Cassidy sat on the bench in the cold morning air, holding her mother's letter, and felt something shift inside her chest. Not hope exactly, something steadier, something that felt like purpose. Tonight, the truth would come out. Tonight, promises made in the dark would finally see light, and Brooke Ellison's carefully constructed lies would finally crumble. At 6:47 p.m., Cassidy stood outside Whitaker's restaurant, staring at the glass doors like they might bite her. Inside, the dinner rush was in full swing, tables packed, servers weaving between them with practiced efficiency, the low hum of conversation and clinking silverware creating that specific restaurant buzz. Her phone buzzed, a text from Travis. I'm in the private room. Come straight back, don't talk to anyone yet. She pushed through the doors. The hostess, Jessica, who'd always been nice enough, looked up and froze. Cassidy, I thought is Mr. Whitaker here? Yes. But he's expecting me. Cassidy walked past before Jessica could respond. The dining room felt different now, smaller. Meaner, like she was seeing it for the first time. There was Monica at table 6 looking stressed. 2 new servers she didn't recognize working the window section. And there, near the bar, Brooke Ellison in her manager's uniform talking to a couple in their 50s, all smiles and polished professionalism. Brooks's gaze landed on Cassidy. The smile froze, then shifted into something dangerous. But Cassidy didn't stop, didn't explain, just kept walking toward the private room. Feeling Brooke's eyes burning into her back, Travis was waiting inside, pacing. The stroller was parked near the table, all 3 babies awake but calm. Watching him move back and forth, when Cassidy entered, he stopped. You came. I said I would. I wasn't sure. After everything, he ran a hand through his hair. My lawyer's on standby. I've pulled the employee files, the schedule changes from the last 3 weeks, everything, if this goes sideways. We have documentation. What exactly are we doing? Telling the truth. All of it, in front of everyone. Travis checked his watch. I've asked the senior staff to gather in 10 minutes. Brooke included. They think it's about new policies. Cassidy's stomach dropped. You want me to accuse her in front of? I want you to tell your story. What happened last night? What you found in your mother's box? Why you're here? He moved closer, and then I'm going to tell them that Brooke's been systematically harassing an employee, falsifying complaints, and abusing her authority. She'd deny it all. Let her try. Travis's jaw was set. I've been reviewing security footage from the last week. The cameras don't cover the storage room, but they do cover the hallway leading to it. There's clear footage of Brooke leading you there, then leaving alone and locking the door from the outside. 37 minutes later, she opens it and you leave. That's not a conversation, that's imprisonment. Cassidy's hands shook. I don't know if I can do this. You can, because your mom couldn't. Travis pulled the letter from his jacket pocket, carefully unfolded. Grace wrote this 8 years ago. She was silenced, fired for being kind, for being a friend to my wife. His voice hardened. I won't let that happen to you. A knock on the door. Ron stuck his head in. Mr. Whitaker, everyone's gathering like you asked. Brooke's asking what this is about. Tell her she'll find out with everyone else. Travis looked at Cassidy, ready. No, absolutely not, but she nodded anyway. They walked out together. Travis pushing the stroller, Cassidy carrying the envelope with her mother's letter. The main dining room had been partially cleared. A few tables pushed aside to create space near the bar where the staff was gathering, servers, kitchen crew, the hostess, the bartender, and Brooke standing apart. Arms crossed, expression unreadable. Monica caught Cassidy's eye and looked away quickly. Travis positioned himself in the center of the semicircle, Cassidy beside him. The babies made soft cooing sounds, oblivious to the tension crackling through the air. Thank you all for gathering on short notice, Travis began. I know you're busy, so I'll make this quick. There's been a situation involving one of our employees, Cassidy Monroe, that needs to be addressed. Brooke's expression shifted to concern. Mr. Whitaker, if this is about the termination. I was planning to discuss. You weren't planning anything, Travis's voice cut through. Because Cassidy wasn't terminated. You don't have the authority to fire anyone without my explicit approval, which you didn't get because you never asked. Silence. Ron's eyebrows went up. Monica shifted uncomfortably. I made a judgment call, Brooke said smoothly. After 3 incidents of inappropriate conduct with your children. You felt what? That locking an employee in a storage room for over 30 minutes was appropriate management. The room went still. Someone gasped. Maybe Jessica. Brooks's face remained calm. That's a serious accusation and completely false. If Cassidy told you, I have security footage. Travis pulled out his phone. Timestamps showing you leading her to the storage room, locking the door from the outside and leaving her there. Would you like me to play it for everyone? Brooke's composure cracked. Just for a second, if I secured the storage room. It was because you've been systematically harassing this woman since the night she helped my daughter stop crying. Travis's voice was ice. Schedule changes designed to minimize her income, falsified customer complaints, sabotaging her station, all documented, all provable. She was overstepping boundaries. She was keeping a promise. Travis handed the letter to Ron. Read this out loud, so everyone understands what's really happening here. Ron unfolded the paper, cleared his throat and began to read. His voice was steady, but Cassidy could see his hands trembling slightly. Travis, I don't know if you'll ever read this. The room was silent as Ron read Grace's words, the promise between 2 friends, the bracelet, the song, the firing, the years of silence. When he finished, Monica was crying. Jessica's hand was pressed over her mouth. Even the head chef who'd emerged from the kitchen looked shaken. Grace Monroe worked here 8 years ago, Travis said. She was friends with my wife. They made a promise to watch over each other's children. Brooke fired her for creating inappropriate relationships with management's family. He turned to Brooke. Sound familiar? That was different. How was it different? Travis's voice rose. Because they were poor, because they dared to cross some invisible class line. You've decided exists in my restaurant. You were protecting your own insecurity. Ron spoke up, still holding the letter. I remember Grace. She was kind. She taught us all that song. He looked at Brooke. And you got her fired because she made you feel small. Brooks's face flushed. You don't know what I was there, Ron continued. I saw how Elizabeth looked for Grace after she was gone. Saw how sad she got when no one could tell her what happened. He turned to Travis. Your wife tried to find her, asked me if I knew where Grace lived. I didn't know. Nobody did. And 3 weeks later, Elizabeth was in the hospital. Travis's face went white. She was looking for Grace when she got sick. Every day she was heartbroken. Ron folded the letter carefully. I should have said something then. I'm saying it now. Brooke looked around the room, seeing the shifting expressions, the judgment forming. This is absurd. You're all believing some fairy tale about. I have Grace's employment records, Travis interrupted, showing she was fired without cause. I have the schedule changes you made for Cassidy 17 in 3 weeks. I have the security footage from last night. I have written complaints you filed against her that don't match any customer statements. He stepped closer to Brooke, and I have a lawyer who's very interested in discussing wrongful termination, harassment, and false imprisonment. Brooke's composure finally shattered. She doesn't belong here. Girls like her take and pretend it's about kindness, but it's just poverty looking for a handout. Stop. Cassidy's voice was quiet, but it cut through. Just stop. She moved forward, holding up her wrist with the blue beaded bracelet. This belonged to my mom. Your wife gave it to her as a symbol of friendship, of promises that matter more than money or status or whatever you think separates people into categories of belonging. She pulled out the photograph, held it up so everyone could see. This is them, friends, happy. Until someone decided that wasn't allowed, she looked at Brooke. You didn't fire my mom because she overstepped. You fired her because she reminded you that kindness doesn't have a price tag, that people like us, poor people, struggling people, we're not less than. We're just different. And that scared you. Tears ran down her face, but her voice stayed steady. I'm not here for money. I'm here because 3 babies need someone who knows their mother's song, because a promise was made, because my mom taught me that when love calls, you answer. The room was silent. Then Monica stepped forward. I'm sorry for taking your shift, for not saying anything when I knew what was happening. Jessica nodded. Am I too? Ron looked at Brooke. I've worked here 15 years, seen a lot of managers. You're the only one who ever made me ashamed of this place. Brooke looked around at the staff. at Travis, at Cassidy, at something in her broke. Fine. You want me gone, I'm gone. But you'll regret this, all of you. The only regret, Travis said quietly, is that it took me this long to see what you really are. Brooke grabbed her purse and walked out. The door slammed behind her. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Quinn started to fuss, and Cassidy, without thinking, moved to the stroller and picked her up. Humming softly, the baby quieted immediately. Travis looked at his staff. Anyone else have concerns about Cassidy working here? Silence. Then Ron smiled. Welcome back. The restaurant felt different after Brooke left. Lighter somehow, like someone had opened windows that had been sealed shut for years. Travis dismissed the staff back to their stations. But before they scattered, he pulled Cassidy aside. My office. 5 minutes. There's something we need to discuss. Her stomach twisted. Okay. She transferred Quinn back to the stroller. The baby protested with a small whimper, but settled when Cassidy kept humming, and watched Travis disappear down the hallway. Monica approached tentatively. Hey, I really am sorry about everything. Cassidy turned to face her. You kept your head down. I get it. We all need to survive. No. I should have. Monica stopped. Brooke told me you were trying to manipulate Mr. Whitaker, that you were using the babies to get close to his money. I believed her because she looked away, because it was easier than standing up for someone I barely knew. And now I know she was full of it. Monica managed a small smile. For what it's worth. I'm glad you're back. Thanks. Jessica waved from the hostess stand. Ron gave Cassidy a subtle nod as he passed with a tray of drinks. Even the head chef, Marcus, who never spoke to front-of-house staff, stuck his head out of the kitchen and said, Good to see you, kid. 5 minutes later, Cassidy knocked on Travis's office door. Come in. The office was exactly what she'd expected. Organized chaos. Desk covered in papers, file cabinets lining the walls. Framed photos of the triplets at various stages of infancy, and there, on the credenza behind his desk, a photo of Elizabeth, dark hair, kind eyes, that blue beaded bracelet visible on her wrist. Travis was on the phone. He gestured for Cassidy to sit. Yes, that's correct. Immediate termination for cause. I'll have documentation sent over by end of business tomorrow. A pause. No, there won't be severance. Consult the employee handbook section on gross misconduct. Another pause. Thank you. He hung up and rubbed his face. That was HR. Brooke's officially done. I'm also implementing new anti-harassment policies and mandatory management training for anyone in a supervisory role. You don't have to. Yes. I do. What happened to your mom? What happened to you? That's on me. I own this place. I should have been paying attention. He opened a folder on his desk, which brings me to why I asked you here. Cassidy braced herself. I've reviewed your employee file. 3 months of perfect attendance, not a single legitimate complaint. And tips that put you in the top 15% of servers. He looked up. Brooke fabricated everything. The complaints, the mistakes, all of it. You were model employee, and she tried to destroy you for it. I know. So here's what I'm proposing. Travis slid a document across the desk first. Back pay for every shift she changed or cut, with a bonus for the harassment you endured. Cassidy's eyes widened as she saw the number. That's too much. It's what you're owed, plus damages. He slid over another paper. Second, I'm offering you a new position, not a server, nighttime childcare specialist. She looked up sharply. What, the girls sleep when you're around? Only when you're around. Travis's voice was steady, but his eyes were desperate. I've tried everything, specialists, sleep consultants, medication, nothing works. But you walk into the room and they calm down within minutes. That's because of the song. Because my mom, because of you. He leaned forward. The song is part of it. Yes, but it's more than that. It's the way you hold them, the way you move. He stopped. My wife chose your mother for a reason, and your mother chose you. This isn't random. This is exactly what they intended. Cassidy's throat tightened. I don't know anything about professional childcare. I'm not certified, or I don't need certified. I need someone who can keep a promise my wife made 8 years ago. Someone who understands that those girls are more than just babies. They're Elizabeth's legacy, and they deserve better than a father who's falling apart because he can't figure out how to help them sleep. Travis, the salary is competitive. Full benefits, paid time off, and I'll cover any expenses related to your mother's medical bills that are still outstanding. Cassidy's vision blurred. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do. Because your mom lost her job trying to be kind to my wife. Because you lost yours trying to help my daughters. Because his voice cracked. Because I'm drowning here, Cassidy. And you're the only person who's managed to throw me a lifeline. She looked at the contract. The salary was more than she'd made in 6 months of serving. The benefits would cover things she'd only dreamed about. health insurance, dental, vision. The medical bill clause would wipe out the last of her mother's debt. It was everything she needed, and it terrified her. What if I can't do it? What if the girls stop responding? What if then we figure it out together as partners, not employer and employee? As he hesitated, as people honoring a promise between two women who loved each other, Cassidy picked up the pen. Her hand shook as she signed her name at the bottom of the contract. Travis exhaled like he'd been holding his breath for days. Thank you. I'm the one who should be thanking you. Where even then, he stood. Moved to the credenza and picked up the photo of Elizabeth. She would have liked you. She would have loved what you did for the girls. I wish I could have met her. Me too. He set the photo down gently. There's one more thing. Your apartment-tron mentioned you're dealing with eviction notices. Cassidy's face burned. I'll figure it out. With the back pay and the new salary, there's a guest house on my property. 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, separate entrance. It's been empty since, he stopped, since Elizabeth died. I couldn't bring myself to rent it out or sell it, but if you're going to be working nights, it makes sense to have you close by. The girls wake up at unpredictable hours. Having you on site would make everything easier. You're offering me a place to live. I'm offering you a home, rent-free, utilities included. As part of the employment package, he pulled out another document. It's all in here. Legal and above board. My lawyer made sure there's no appearance of impropriety. Separate residence. Separate entrance. Professional boundaries maintained. Cassidy stared at him.
Why are you doing all this?
Because I'm tired of failing the people who matter. I failed Elizabeth by not knowing about Grace. Failed your mom by not stopping her from being fired. Failed you by not seeing what Brooke was doing. He met her eyes. I'm not failing those girls, not anymore. And I'm not failing the promise my wife made. The office was quiet except for the sound of the restaurant humming beyond the door. When do I start? Cassidy asked finally. Tonight, if you're ready. The girls need sleep. I need sleep. And a ghost of a smile crossed his face. I think we both need to believe that good things can still happen. Cassidy thought about her studio apartment with its broken step and sticky locks. Thought about the eviction notice and the empty refrigerator and the 3 months of terror. Thought about her mom's letter. When love calls, answer. Tonight, she said. I'll start tonight. 2 hours later. Cassidy stood in the guest house living room holding a box with her few possessions and tried not to cry. The house was small but perfect. Hardwood floors. Big windows looking out onto a garden. Furniture that was simple but comfortable. The bedroom had a real bed, a whiz-as-quanted down comforter. The kitchen had appliances that worked. The bathroom had water pressure. It was more than she'd had in years. Travis appeared in the doorway holding Hazel. The girls are in the main house nursery, but I've set up a monitor system that connects here. If they wake up, you'll hear them immediately, okay? And Cassidy. He shifted Hazel to his other arm. Take tomorrow off, get settled, rest. We'll start the official schedule on Monday. She nodded, unable to speak. He left, and she sank onto the couch, still holding her box. Her phone buzzed, a text from Monica. Proud of you. Then Jessica. Welcome back. Then Ron. Your mom would be proud too. Cassidy set down the box and pulled out the envelope with Grace's letter. Read it again in the lamplight, her mother's handwriting swimming through tears. When love calls, answer. She had, finally, completely, she had. And somewhere in heaven or memory or the space between heartbeats, she could swear she heard her mother singing. 3 weeks later, the main house nursery looked different. Soft, amber light glowed from the corner lamp instead of harsh overhead fluorescence. The walls, once stark white, now held framed photos, some new. Some old, Grace and Elizabeth in the restaurant kitchen, laughing, Elizabeth holding her newborn triplets. Exhausted but radiant. Grace at Cassidy's high school graduation, pride written across her tired face. And a new one, taken just last week, Cassidy in the rocking chair, all 3 babies asleep against her chest. That blue beaded bracelet catching the light. It was 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday. The babies had been fed, changed, and were now in that drowsy state that used to mean hours of crying. Used to. Cassidy sat in the rocking chair, humming softly. Hazel dozed in her left arm, Quinn in her right. Lila nestled between them. Their breathing had synced, 3 tiny chests rising and falling in perfect rhythm. The sound was better than any music Cassidy had ever heard. Travis leaned against the doorframe, watching. He'd been doing that a lot lately, appearing silently, just observing, not in a creepy way, more like he was memorizing something he was afraid might disappear. They're out, Cassidy whispered. Record time. 20 minutes. Quinn was fighting it. She always does. She's stubborn like her mother. Travis moved into the room, keeping his steps light. Need help putting them down? Not yet. Let me finish the song. She continued humming, that melody she could probably sing in her sleep now. Dormit menina, dormit mi sol, dormit pedazo de mi corazón. The words came easier now. She'd looked up the full lyrics, learned them properly, added her own verses when the babies needed extra soothing. When the last note faded, she and Travis worked together, a choreographed dance they'd perfected over 3 weeks. He took Hazel first, laid her in the crib on the right, tucked her blanket just so. Cassidy stood carefully with Quinn and Lila, transferred Quinn to Travis, then laid Lila in the middle crib herself. All 3 babies stayed asleep. They stood there for a moment, barely breathing, waiting for the inevitable cry. It didn't come. Travis exhaled slowly. I still can't believe it works. Believe it. Cassidy adjusted Lila's blanket. They're good sleepers now. They just needed routine, and the song, and you. She didn't argue. Over 3 weeks, she'd learned that Travis needed to acknowledge what she'd done for his family. Needed to say thank you in 100 small ways. Fresh coffee waiting when she woke up. Grocery deliveries to the guest house that she definitely hadn't ordered. A new phone to replace her cracked one, because you need reliable communication for work. They'd fallen into a rhythm that felt less like employer-employee and more like something else, partners maybe, co-parents without the romance. 2 people united by grief and triplets and a promise made between ghosts. They walked downstairs together, the baby monitor clipped to Travis's belt, and settled in the living room. This was their routine now, after the babies went down. They'd talk about Elizabeth and Grace, about the restaurant, about nothing and everything. Tonight, Travis pulled out his laptop. I found something. Was going through Elizabeth's old emails again, looking for more mentions of Grace. Did you find any? Not exactly, but I found this. He turned the screen toward her. An email draft, dated 7 years ago, addressed to Grace's old email, never sent. Grace, I'm scared. The doctors say the babies are healthy, but something feels wrong. I can't shake this feeling that I'm not going to meet them, that I'm going to miss everything. If something happens to me, please keep singing to them. Please tell them I love them. Please tell Travis that the bracelet means everything. It means promises kept, kindness honored, love that doesn't die with us. I wish I could be braver. I wish I could be the mother they deserve. But if I can't, at least I know you'll teach Cassidy how. Teach her that love isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, about singing, even when your voice shakes. Thank you for being my friend, for seeing me as just Elizabeth, not Mrs. Whitaker, or the restaurant owner's wife. Just me. I love you, E. Cassidy's vision blurred. She knew. She knew something was going to happen. The doctor said there were complications from the beginning. She had a feeling. Travis's voice was rough. She wanted Grace to know. To be ready, but she never sent it. My mom never knew Elizabeth was scared. Never knew. Cassidy stopped. What if she had? What if my mom had come to the hospital? Been there when... Don't. Travis closed the laptop. We can't do that. Can't play the what-if game. It'll destroy us. He was right. Cassidy had spent 3 weeks learning that lesson. What-ifs were quicksand. The more you struggled with them, the deeper you sank. Can I ask you something? Cassidy said. Always. Do you resent me for being here when your wife isn't? Travis was quiet for a long moment. No, but I did at first. Not resent, exactly. More like I was angry at the universe. Angry that Elizabeth died keeping a promise to someone I'd never heard of. Angry that a stranger could calm my babies when I couldn't. He looked at her, but then I realized, you're not a stranger. You're the living embodiment of a friendship I never got to witness. You're proof that Elizabeth's kindness mattered, that it rippled out beyond her death. Cassidy touched the bracelet on her wrist. I wear this every day now. Used to take it off at night, scared I'd break it. But now it belongs on you, the way Elizabeth's belonged on her. Travis stood. Moved to the mantel where a small wooden box sat. He opened it, pulled out another blue beaded bracelet. Slightly more worn, a few beads darker with age. This was hers. I kept it after everything. Couldn't bring myself to look at it, but couldn't throw it away either. He held it out to Cassidy. But I can't take that. It's yours. It's meant to be worn. Meant to be part of a promise. He moved closer. Elizabeth gave one to your mom. Your mom gave hers to you. And now, he placed it gently in Cassidy's palm. Now, I'm giving Elizabeth's to you, to honor what they started, to continue what we're building. Cassidy stared at the bracelet. The twin to the one on her wrist. What are we building? Family. Not the traditional kind maybe, but family all the same. Travis smiled. and it reached his eyes for the first time in weeks. Elizabeth wanted Grace to be part of our lives. Grace wanted you to be here. And those 3 girls upstairs sleep better with you than they ever did with me alone. That's not coincidence, that's design. Cassidy slipped Elizabeth's bracelet onto her other wrist. 2 bracelets now, one from each woman who'd made this moment possible. The baby monitor crackled, a small sound, maybe Quinn shifting in her sleep. They both froze, listening, but the sound didn't escalate. Just settle back into peaceful white noise. They're really sleeping, Travis said. Wonder in his voice. They really are. You know what that means? What? I get to sleep too. For the first time in 6 months, I might actually sleep through the night. Cassidy laughed. Don't jinx it. Too late. I'm jinxing it. I'm going to sleep 8 full hours and wake up feeling human. He started toward the stairs, then turned back. Cassidy, thank you for everything. For not giving up. For being here. For his voice caught. For keeping a promise you didn't even know existed. Thank you for letting me. He headed upstairs. And Cassidy sat in the quiet living room, wearing 2 bracelets and feeling the weight of 2 women's love settled across her shoulders like a blessing. Her phone buzzed, a text from Monica. Drinks this weekend. Celebrate your 3-week anniversary. Then Ron, the new manager, started today. She's actually nice. Wild concept. Then Travis from upstairs. Quinn's making noise. False alarm. She just rolled over. All good. Cassidy smiled. Typed back. Told you not to jinx it. His response, worth it. She turned off the lamp and walked back to the guest house under a sky full of stars. The garden was quiet, the night air cool and clean. Through the main house windows, she could see the soft glow of the nursery nightlight. Inside her own house, and it was hers now, truly hers. She made tea and sat at the kitchen table with her mom's letter spread out in front of her. When love calls answer, she had answered, had shown up, had sung even when her voice shook. And somewhere in memory or heaven or the space between heartbeats, Grace and Elizabeth were smiling. 2 friends who defied class and circumstance to forge a bond that death couldn't break. 2 women who'd known that love, real love, doesn't end with a last breath. It transforms, it continues. It sings itself into new voices and new promises and 3 sleeping babies who would grow up, knowing that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about blue beaded bracelets and lullabies that cross generations. Sometimes it's about promises that refuse to die. Sometimes it's about 2 strangers who become family because that's what the people who loved them always intended. Cassidy touched both bracelets, felt the beads warm against her skin, and whispered into the quiet kitchen, "We did it, Mom. We kept the promise." And in the nursery across the garden, 3 babies slept peacefully through the night, dreaming of voices that loved them, hands that held them, and a song that would follow them home forever.